is Wanamai Sarah binti Wan Kamarudin and my metric number is 275683. I'm going to start with the background of Songket. Songket is a traditional Malaysian handmade cloth made by women from Peninsular Malay and Sarawak. The term Songket refers to a decorative weaving technique used to make fabric involving the insertion of gold or silver threads between warp threads. As a result, the extra threads appear to float over the colorful woven background, creating a decorative effect. Songket is woven using a traditional two-tiered floor roll. The final product is a fine fabric obtained by hand weaving over months by skilled artisans. The weaving technique that dates back to the 16th century has been passed down from generation to generation, and the Songket style can be seen in the patterns using geometric shapes and organic elements such as flowers, birds, and insects. Songket material was traditionally worn only by the royal family and their families. Today, however, Malays across the country use it as a traditional ceremonial attire for royal ceremonies, weddings, births, celebratory ceremonies, and official national ceremonies. Songket weaving has always been in the hands of women, but men also have joined the practice by making weaving equipment. One of the most popular Songket cannot be separated from regions that were previously under Srivijaya dominion, notably Palembang, which is situated in South Sumatra. Due to the Srivijaya Empire, commerce and mixed marriage, Songket has gained popularity throughout the maritime Southeast Asia, particularly in nations like Brunei, Malaysia, and Singapore. Next is the domain of Songket's intangible heritage. UNESCO recommends 5 major domains in which intangible cultural heritage manifests itself. The first is oral traditions and expressions, including language as a vehicle of the intangible cultural heritage. The second is performing arts. The third is social practices, rituals, and festive events. The fourth is knowledge and practices concerning value and the universe. And the last is traditional craftsmanship. Songket's intangible heritage domains encompass traditional craftsmanship. Traditional handicraft is without a doubt the greatest concrete embodiment of intangible cultural heritage that exists today. Traditional craftsmanship manifests itself in a variety of ways, including tools, clothes and jewelry, costumes and props for festivals, and many other things. The vast majority of these things, such as those constructed for festival ceremonies, are only meant to be utilized for a brief period of time, but some may become heirlooms that are handed down from generation to generation. The abilities required to create craft things are as diverse as the goods themselves, ranging from delicate, intricate labor like as the weaving of Songket to more generalized skills such as sewing. It is fascinating craft that makes use of a variety of gorgeous wooden implements, including looms, shuttles, and frames. In and of itself, these tools are work of beauty, but the fact that they have been around since the same time that our ancestors were inventing stone tools is even more astounding. Most people have never seen or heard of a loom or the process of making textiles, despite the fact that weaving is a historic art that evolved alongside pottery, woodworking, stone, and metalworking techniques. Next is the concept of Songket's intangible heritage. Malay Songket textures have endured as a symbol of status, wealth, and affluence, displaying royal symbols and intricate patterns from exquisite beauty for centuries. Songket cloth has been worn by monarchs and members of the aristocracy for centuries. Only by hand was the Songket created, and it was meticulously prepared by the greatest of the past. Currently, Songket fabric is utilized by people from various walks of life, including newlyweds, traditional dancers, and others who require formal dress for events such as university commencement ceremonies. This work remains firmly related with traditional concepts such as palace, heroism and majesty, and its usage indicates the rank and position of a person or an event of social and cultural importance. This may be observed in the way it is represented in a number of Malay rituals and public gatherings. Songket cloth has undergone considerable transformations in tandem with cultural modernization and has grown even more magnificent and mystical as it has been handled and adjusted to suit the demands of its wearers. The concept of weaving is simple. It is the process of interlacing perpendicular sets of threads to create a fabric from a yarn. Backstrap looms are used to weave the majority of traditional textiles. Warps are held under tension by the loom, and weft are passed between them and the weaver, who passes a crosswise thread, also known as a weft, between them. When weaving a plain weave fabric, the weft passes over the one warp, below another, over the next, and so on until the fabric reaches the end. And the last part is the opinions regarding the safeguarding of the intangible heritage. Many international communities finally realized that intangible cultural heritage requires and deserves international protection, resulting in the 2003 approval of the UNESCO Convention on the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage. Many multinational communities are aware that culture spread and purpose extend beyond its material goods, and that its spiritual aspect requires special protections. Peoples as distinct social and cultural communities might face cultural extinction if they do not protect and transmit their intangible cultural heritage. So, unlike monumental property, intangible heritage is a cultural space that requires a two-pronged protection approach to ensure both its preservation and ongoing adaptation to the cultural development of its creatures and carriers. What happens when the physical and cultural aspects that shape intangible heritage change? How can protection be successful if it is based around changing physical and cultural elements? In reality, this classification of intangible heritage will not hinder its proper preservation. Rather, international action should simply offer a conducive environment within which intangible heritage may flow freely according to the aspirations and requirements of its creators and bearers. In other words, protecting intangible heritage requires preventing external interferences from corrupting the natural development of its procedures and carriers. This technique might offer appropriate and long-lasting protection of intangible heritage despite its ever-changing nature.